Ellen DeGeneres may not be the person many believe she is. Stephen Twitch Boss, an executive producer on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, died less than 6 months after Ellen relocated to the UK. Now, nearly 4 years later, his wife has begun to speak publicly about what was going on behind the scenes. She shares claims about Ellen's alleged behavior, her reported links to some of the most controversial figures in Hollywood, and what Twitch reportedly revealed in a note he left behind.
Early on the morning of Tuesday, December 12, Twitch packed a small bag with only a change of clothes and his handgun, slipped out of his house without telling Allison, turned his phone to airplane mode so he couldn't be tracked, and took an Uber to the Oak Tree Inn, a dreary 2-story motel in a hacienda-style building on heavily trafficked Ventura Boulevard, just a mile from his house, and paid $107 to reserve a room for a single night. Twitch made his way down to room 249 and let himself in. Allison reported to police that Twitch was missing shortly after he had left the house, noting with particular worry that she couldn't reach him by phone and he had not taken his car with him when he left, 2 things that she said were very much out of character for him.
Because there were no details about Twitch's death, people just rushed to fill that void. This was at the time when Ellen had built this edifice as the nicest person on television. She would have YouTube stars, and all of a sudden that edifice was crumbling.
Twitch had been part of The Ellen DeGeneres Show for over 8 years. In May 2022, everything began to fall apart after Ellen faced criticism for creating a toxic workplace for her staff. She decided to end the show, and just 2 months later, her former girlfriend Enhechi tragically died in a car accident. Then, in December of that same year, Twitch also passed away. Now, new information is coming out about the intense pressure Twitch may have been facing during the controversy. Some claims suggest that Ellen relied on his positive public image to protect herself from growing backlash. This has led many to question whether it is simply a coincidence that 2 individuals who might have had important insights about Ellen both died around the time an investigation into her conduct was beginning.
As you may have heard, this summer there were allegations of a toxic work environment at our show. And then there was an investigation. I learned that things happened here that never should have happened. I take that very seriously, and I want to say I am so sorry to the people who were affected. I know that I'm in a position of privilege and power, and I realize that with that comes responsibility, and I take responsibility for what happens at my show. This is the Ellen DeGeneres Show. I am Ellen DeGeneres. My name is there. My name is there. My name is on underwear. We have had a lot of conversations over the last few weeks about the show, our workplace, and what we want for the future. We have made the necessary changes, and today we are starting a new chapter.
Some online claims go far beyond accusations of a toxic workplace, suggesting that Ellen was hiding much more serious secrets. According to these sources, there are even allegations linking her to the deaths of both Twitch and her former girlfriend, Enhechi. In September 2024, the FBI stated that they were investigating Sean Diddy Combs and others connected to him over claims involving the trafficking of young artists. Then, just a month later, Ellen unexpectedly shared that she would be moving to the UK for good.
They're losing their minds.
She sounded so sincere, didn't she?
Very sincere.
Virtually choke on her words. But the best one for me is Ellen DeGeneres, who is, by the way, a very nasty person. I've had dealings with her in Australia. Could I tell you some stories about that cow? But anyway, good riddance to her. But she was quite friendly with that P. Diddy bloke, wasn't she?
Well, this is why I say release the Diddy files.
Yeah.
Release the Diddy files. Come on, Donald Trump. We want to know whose name.
So maybe she's hightailing out of there before all that is thrown at her as well. But what a bunch of hypocrites.
Ellen DeGeneres and her wife, Portia de Rossi, have reportedly fled the US, bound for the UK, after Donald Trump's landslide victory. Numerous publications are reporting the couple have left the United States permanently. There are also reports the couple have put their Montecito mansion on the market. Entertainment publication The Wrap has the exclusive story and said, Ellen DeGeneres and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England, put their Montecito estate on the market, and plan to never return to the United States, telling friends the election of Donald Trump was their primary motivation. Ellen DeGeneres has been a vocal Trump critic, so the move doesn't come as a surprise to most.
You're really bad. If you had to be stuck in an elevator with either President Trump, Mike Pence, or Jeff Sessions, who would it be?
Does one of us have to come out alive?
Ellen DeGeneres has been seen rocking a new hair color since moving to the UK. The comedian changed her signature blonde look to brunette as she was seen enjoying a night out with friends at a pub called The Farmer's Dog. Ellen went out with her wife, Portia de Rossi, and a few friends, including the Torn singer Natalie Imbruglia. Sources told TMZ earlier this week that Ellen and Portia moved to England because of Donald Trump's re-election. They have reportedly settled into their new home in the southwest region of England, but they purchased the property before the election.
One post about Ellen's move to the UK said she left the US very quickly, stayed out of the public eye, and gave the impression of someone who had done something wrong and was running away, only to return later if nothing happened. Around that same period, claims began circulating that Ellen often attended Diddy's reported parties. There were also rumors suggesting that Twitch may have witnessed something he was not meant to see. These gatherings were said to include some of the most influential people in the world. Because of his close connection to Ellen and his presence at such events, some believe he may have been exposed to something far more serious than he understood. Rumors online claim that Ellen was tied to a secretive elite group and involved in disturbing practices, including the use of substances taken from humans. There are also posts suggesting that changes in her appearance happened after she no longer had access to these treatments following Diddy's arrest. In an interview with Sandra Bullock, people online have pointed to a moment where the two appear to joke about staying young, which some have taken out of context to support these claims.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Perry? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean.
Online critics have also highlighted what they see as unsettling moments in Ellen's interactions with young celebrities and child actors. One example often mentioned is when private photos of Justin Bieber were leaked. During her show, Ellen, who is much older than him, presented altered versions of those images on screen, a moment many viewers felt left him visibly uncomfortable. Ellen also pushed the joke further by putting Justin Bieber in an awkward spot, encouraging a staged moment that made him visibly uncomfortable as part of the prank. While discussing unusual moments linked to Ellen, some online sources have also pointed to what they describe as odd symbolism in a few of her videos. In March 2020, around the time COVID lockdowns began, Ellen DeGeneres shared a strange clip where she wore a hoodie featuring a red, face-like design that some viewers found unsettling. People later claimed a similar image was seen worn by Jay-Z. There are also fan theories suggesting that parts of the Ellen DeGeneres show set design resembled structures linked to Jeffrey Epstein's private island, though these ideas largely come from online speculation rather than confirmed evidence.
Symbolism will be their downfall. Or is it just art? And let me be the first to tell you, it's all connected. I mean, if you know, you know. But first, let's go back to that video of Ellen DeGeneres. When the camera turns, you can see the inside of her house. Now, see that picture right there? Well, if you pause it and look it up, it says evil thoughts with revenge right next to it. Here's another picture of Ellen in her house, and this is the picture behind her. Now, the thing I'm curious about is the letters on top of the picture. These look oddly similar to the letters Marina Abramovich writes out when she does spirit cooking. Remember the beginning of the video? It's all connected. And that person that was in all red is Lady Gaga, and she went to Marina Abramovich many times for teaching. But let's continue. This is another picture of Ellen in her home. She's cutting her mother's hair, but what is that picture above her head?
Look at it.
Oh, well, you know where that is too, right? It's a similar image to that, right?
No.
I know Jamie does.
What is it?
It's on the set of a famous talk show that's now not on anymore.
Oh, Ellen? Was that Ellen?
Yeah.
Really?
Just look at the temple and then look at the...
Let me see Ellen's background. What?
Supporters of these theories have suggested that Ellen's use of stem cells is similar to practices rumored about other controversial figures. Some online posts reference emails allegedly found in the Epstein files, claiming that his Zorro Ranch was involved in stem cell experiments. Investigators on the internet, like Alex Jones, were among the first to discuss these documents. Online claims also suggest that certain celebrities believed stem cells could help extend life or improve health. According to these rumors, people would visit the ranch to receive treatments, or sometimes placentas were reportedly sent out for this purpose. While none of this has been verified, these ideas continue to circulate widely online.
Stem cell technology that Peter and I are investing in that's called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go in and take it out.
It's painful, right?
Huh?
Is it painful? You use
Yeah, a little bit. And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
No, you gotta be out of your monkey.
You want?
You can get paid a lot more than that.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500 for, you know.
I'm prepared to outbid him anyway.
Whatever I bid, he's gonna outbid me.
I bought about $60,000 worth of eggs.
Yeah.
If you have a patient, that's very valuable. You know, umbilical cord, you know, and placenta, even your period blood is so rich with stem cells.
Yeah.
We regard it as waste, and it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled.
The recently released emails from the Epstein files show Jeffrey Epstein was interested in genetic medicine. He paid a researcher at Massachusetts General Hospital for tests that could be used to help create stem cells. Investigators found a $2,000 invoice from 2014 for sequencing part of Epstein's genome. The doctor that he paid also provided an estimate for personalized longevity studies that would use gene editing. He told investigators Epstein was enrolled in the Personal Genome Project at Harvard University.
In the months leading up to Twitch's death, online allegations about Ellen were spreading widely across social media, and some claimed that the growing pressure affected people close to the situation, including Stephen, Twitch boss. However, none of these claims have been confirmed by any reliable source. His wife, Allison Holker, later shared that Twitch had left a personal note before his passing. According to her description, the note reflected his emotional struggles and the stress he had been experiencing during that period. Online users have attempted to connect this note to broader rumors involving Ellen DeGeneres and workplace controversies, suggesting he may have been under pressure to support certain public narratives. These interpretations, however, remain unverified and speculative. As discussion continued online, further theories emerged about what Twitch may have known or witnessed, but these claims are not supported by credible evidence and remain part of internet rumor. Overall, most of what is circulating comes from social media speculation rather than confirmed facts, and the true details have not been publicly established.
We're learning more tonight about the tragic side of Stephen Twitch boss and the detailed steps he took to hide his plans. TMZ is reporting when Twitch left his home the day before he took an Uber to a motel about a mile away. At the motel, he switched his phone to airplane mode so no one could reach him. The motel manager says he checked in under his own name and never left his room. We also now know that Twitch left a suicide note. Details have not been made public, but TMZ reports the note alluded to challenges Twitch had faced in the past. Entertainer Tyler Perry knows firsthand what that is like.
I want to take you back to a time in my life where I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because it was so dark. I thought the only way to make this better, this pain go away, is to end my life. Had any of those attempts happened, I would have missed the best part of my life.
Human beings are not designed to handle that much pressure. And when I was talking about my experience, his face was like, I know.
Allison said Twitch had been under pressure for a long time, and the public image everyone saw on screen was only an act. Twitch disliked working with Ellen, and he realized who Ellen truly was. Even though several important people from The Ellen Show gave statements, Twitch stayed silent. Allegedly, Ellen was pressuring him to back her publicly despite internal conflict behind the scenes at times, allegedly.
Moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed, and it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out, but it also helped me process that he was going through so much. And he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. And he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone. Because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. But it was very alarming and scary to find those things and have never known.
Even a lot of people knew him as Twitch. Very two different humans. He wore this character of Twitch. It did become a part of who he was, but that extroverted personality was not natural for him. When he would go out as Twitch and make sure he's spreading all this love and joy and positivity and be dancing all the time for people, and it would drain his energy. He would have to come home, really recharge his battery. Yeah. That also comes with the state of depression because he would get really low. He showered people with love. Sometimes I wonder when he would receive so much love, he almost didn't think he deserved that love, so he'd give it right back. Yeah. That's how much he loved people. I think he would just keep draining himself so much. It was just so on this roller coaster ride. You have to hold on to half your cup to that love that you deserved for yourself. Like what you guys saw on TV, it was a huge part of him. But the other side, it would take a lot to be that.
Some people believe Twitch tried to step away from the bad experiences he faced while working with Ellen, while others think he was silenced before speaking. The fact that Ellen left the country quietly without any big public statements or plans has only increased the deep suspicion. After Twitch died, Ellen shared a video showing her grief. What she did next, however, showed Ellen truly didn't care.
What is something you would like to say to Twitch? Like, what has he meant to you?
Hey, everybody. Everyone is in pain and trying to make sense of it, and we'll never make sense of it. And the holidays are hard, I think, anyway. But to honor Twitch, I think the best thing that we can do is to laugh and hug each other and play games and dance and sing.
The comedian hired Twitch for her talk show back in 2014.
Over a decade ago, I met someone who changed my life and our show. And I'm talking about you, Twitch. Come here.
He was the in-house DJ until the series wrapped earlier this year.
And I know it seems hard, it seems impossible, but that's how we honor him. And hug each other and tell each other we love each other and let people know we're there for them.
Ellen recently dropped a stand-up special where she joked about being canceled and the allegations made against her there. She showed no regret for anything she did. Instead, she said the accusations were framed as her being mean. Twitch's name never came up once, even though his note clearly stated Ellen's behavior pushed him to make that final decision behind the scenes at times. Her tears during her apology back then are now seen differently in a new light.
Is Ellen DeGeneres rewriting history? That's what some of her former staffers claim she's doing in her new Netflix stand-up special, For Your Approval.
I got kicked out of show business. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, because I'm mean. Yeah. Yeah, you can't be mean and be in show business. No, they'll kick you out.
She uses jokes to address the controversy.
I was in therapy for a while trying to deal with all the hatred that was coming at me, and at one point my therapist said, "Ellen, where do you get this idea that everyone hates you?" And I said, well, New York Times, Washington Post, Entertainment Weekly, Us Weekly. I think Elmo may have said something recently on an episode of Sesame Street.
But this producer who worked with her takes issue with how she's addressing allegations that there was a toxic work environment at her legendary talk show.
The essence of the special really was totally a lie.
Hedda Muscat says Ellen's special hits all the wrong notes.
I felt Ellen was not taking responsibility at all. She was sugarcoating it.
The Ellen DeGeneres Show went off the air after 19 seasons in May 2022, mired in controversy, including allegations of racism and sexual misconduct. Ellen addressed the allegations back in 2020.
And if I've ever let someone down, if I've ever hurt their feelings, I am so sorry for that.
In the special, Ellen describes the work environment she remembers.
It was a family to me. We had so much fun together at that show. We laughed all the time. We played games all the time.
I felt it was not a family. It was an atmosphere of fear.
Fans are revisiting Anheche's death case. Allegedly, Anheche was also working on a child documentary before her death incident. According to some sources, the coroner report says she was unconscious until her death, but if you watch the footage, she sits straight up, clearly seen.
In May 2002, the Ellen DeGeneres show was canceled, and then 2 months later, Anne Hesh, Ellen's ex-girlfriend, was in a really bad car accident where she flew her Mini Cooper into someone's house and it caught fire. And what has never sat right with me is the cross comparison between the coroner's report and the actual aerial footage. The coroner's report says that she was unconscious until her death, just from smoke inhalation and from being brain dead from the fumes in her brain. But if you look at the footage, she sits straight up, and that takes a conscious effort, I feel, but I'm not a scientist. I mean, I'm not a doctor. But the other thing is her other host, her co-host Twitch, died 4 months after that. And I just think that that's a suspicious amount of like close people around you dying in weird ways. But I don't know. Anyways, this is my driver. And I went to the Ellen show once, and she gave me Magic Mike Live tickets. Anyways.
Here's the real thing. We've seen celebrities avoid accountability again and again. Allegations and even proven crimes often fail to impact a career for major celebrities. Sometimes Diddy was seen on tape and convicted of crimes allegedly. Just yesterday, Usher came out supporting him, saying Diddy was misrepresented by critics. Fans were clearly not happy. One fan wrote, Usher's experience differs from another person's experience. Online reaction: Diddy wasn't misrepresented. We saw video footage of Diddy abusing Cassie. Just because an abuser didn't abuse you doesn't mean that person isn't an abuser. I still have respect for Usher and understand what he was trying to say. However, Diddy was not misrepresented here.
I mean, this might be a bit controversial, but in the same way, I think many people choose to look past the reality of what our country is, the standards that we now stand on. We can't ignore the reality of the history, but in many ways, I think certain people are prosecuted and maybe not recognized for the greatness, that they offer. I don't have anything negative to say about Sean Combs because my experience was not what the world has seen and how he's been, misrepresented. I'm not saying that every man is perfect. I'm not saying that all of us don't have flaws, but I can't, with any sense of humanity, not recognize the valuable contributions that this man made. For us as Black entrepreneurs, for us as businessmen, for us as people who transition, culture and ideas into something that's tangible and becomes business. So many people benefited from what he created. And I acknowledge that. And that's why I see him as legacy.
You told Shannon Sharp you learned a lot about business during that era.
Absolutely.
What'd you learn?
Puff was a mentor bum, but he was like you have that really, really hard teacher, but you're watching something in real time. I think that the idea of the level of discipline that came with that time in business, especially in an era that was trying to prove itself culturally in hip hop. Now, you can't turn on the television and not see the influence of hip hop.
That's right.
But the people who actually made that appropriate and are the forefathers are people like Sean Combs.
If you've watched this far, you already understand these stories rarely simply disappear anymore, and when more interviews come out, the discussion is still ongoing. So what do you believe? Coincidence? Or something deeper happening behind the scenes here? Share your thoughts in comments below now.